Often car manufacturers like to collaborate with other manufacturers to create something very different. But I bet you never thought Honda would collaborate with that. Well, they did, and created this, the 1990 Rover 414 SLI. It's a car that looks like it was designed in a polite argument between a librarian and an engineer, while Honda quietly watched in the corner, occasionally offering some biscuits. But saying that, I can't help but actually like how this car looks. It's very boring and quite boxy, but actually very fascinating at the same time, and I don't really know why. It's a British car built during what some call Rover's golden era, though golden here is more like a gold-plated tea tray from Argos. But behind this subtle saloon is a fascinating tale of Anglo-Japanese collaboration, a surprisingly eager engine, and a car that's probably the most average thing I've ever driven, but in a weirdly brilliant way. Cut back to the late 80s, Rover and Honda were basically best mates. After their first collaboration of the Rover 800 series, their second result was this, the R8 generation Rover 400 series, born from the bones of the Honda Concerto, but wrapped in tweed and sprinkled with British optimism. Now, the 414 SLI was kind of the poshest trim of the 1.4 litre model. It got you things like power steering, a nice wood veneer here, a sunroof, and an interior that smelled like your nan's living room. And for once, it wasn't just badge engineering. The chassis was tweaked, the styling was changed, and it was assembled at Longbridge, giving it the crucial Made in Britain identity. Under the bonnet is the now legendary K-Series 1.4 litre engine, which produces 90 horsepower, which in today's standards is about the same horsepower you get in a toaster. But it is quite lightweight, this car, and it feels quite nippy for a 1.4. 0 to 60, it's probably best we just don't talk about that, to be honest. The engine revs really nice and eagerly, and once you're in second or third, it's actually quite fun. The throttle response is crisp, the gearbox is nice and light, not as refined as a Mazda, but still slick enough to enjoy. So let's talk about the handling. It's not quite hot hatch territory. It is very sort of cumbersome and quite relaxed, and the suspension is very soft, so it's not going to be, the quickest round corners, but it is very comfortable. And that is the best part about this car. It is very comfortable and the ride is super smooth. Inside, the Rover is brown or beige or some kind of colour that Deluxe would call Victorian bone or something. But it's actually quite nice in here. You've got these sort of half velour, half fabric seats. And of course, leather would be for Tories and Jaguars. And you've also got a sort of 90s Rover curve for the dash as well. And most importantly, you actually get real buttons, which is really nice to see. And then they're, the classic Rover quality. And you have a decent heater, a nice stereo that sometimes works, and actually something I really like, a coin holder for your pocket money. As well as that, you also got wind down windows and a wind up sunroof, which probably leaks. Let's call it character though. And as you can see in the back, it's like being in an armchair. You've actually got this armrest here, which folds back in, but also it's very comfortable. It's basically like being in a living room. Good night. And as for the boot, it is quite substantial. You can get quite a lot in there. And actually, as you can see, you've got these genuine Rover roof bars, which I think is great. Let's talk about the elephant in the engine bay, head gaskets. Yes, the K-Series engine has a reputation. Not entirely unfair either. The head gasket will fail if you look at it funny, or top it up with coolant on a Tuesday. But if maintained properly, these engines will run forever. They're light, efficient, and very easy to work on. The owners on forums have said that they've done 150,000 miles plus without any issues. Also, parts are still available, and because it's from the Honda Rover love child years, a lot of the underpinnings are reliable. Here's the thing though, people love these, especially the 414 SLI. It's practical, comfy, it doesn't really try to show off. Of course, it's not the most handsome car. It kind of looks like the car I drew when I was 8, but it still has lots of character. And in town, you do actually get some looks from people just because it is a different car. She's probably thinking, what's that handsome guy doing in this not so handsome car? Or vice versa. So, what is the 1990 Rover 414 SLI really? It's a very British take on a very Japanese design, a collaboration that weirdly worked. It's not exciting, not sexy, and not fast, but it is honest. And honesty is rare in cars now. The 414 SLI is the car equivalent of your dad's old pub, slightly worn, full of stories, and still standing proudly despite the odds. And because this car belonged to Robin from Viking Detail, there was always a deal to be had. And so one of our camera team actually ended up buying it.
Sold.
Hold out your head.
So there we are, that is the Rover 414, and I think it's actually quite a cool car. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.